Make room for Javi.
Today is day 7 of 365, and today's project is more shop insulation. I moved some stuff around and cleared the entrance so I can reach the rest of the insulation. So with any luck, today I'll be done with the bulk of the insulation and I'll move on to other things. What's today's story? Today I'm going to tell you a story that I'm quite fond of from my high school days. My friend Anna, Carlos, and Howard, and Robert, we were all very, very fond of Dungeons & Dragons, advanced D&D. I had the compendium, I had the books. We were immersed. We would play it usually at Anna's house. She was always the dungeon master, and I loved her as a dungeon master. Well, many of you play Dungeons & Dragons now and know how it is. We formed a Dungeons & Dragons club in high school. Every club needs a teacher to moderate, and we got our computer teacher, Mr. Quesada. Now, Mr. Quesada, let me describe this man for you. He was a rather heavy-set individual. He had big eyes to begin with, and he had glasses that made him look 10 times bigger. Now, for those of you that have watched CSI Miami, you know that Horatio Caine tilts his head sideways. Now, the way he does it is fantastic and, very dramatic. Mr. Quesada was far from that eloquent. He looked more like a man that, well, how can I put this delicately, had feasted so much that his head was too heavy for his neck. Combine that with those big glasses. He was a very comical yet lovable figure and teacher. I'll tell you stories about the computer class in the future and some of the not so honest things we did, but that's for another day. Today's day is about Dungeons & Dragons. We're here playing these games. Everyone was a joy because it was an adventure. Anybody that's played those games live knows what I'm talking about. So now, the D&D club is meeting after school at the computer room, Quesada's classroom. He plays with us, and he is, well, for high school kids, we would consider him a little bit arrogant. Yet at the same time, he is completely clueless as to the communication of 10th and 11th and 12th graders under his purview. So what happens? We're all sitting around playing a game. Now, Anna is the dungeon master. For a few weeks now, we played campaigns where Mr. Quesada would always buy a whole bunch of 10-foot poles. We'd come up to a trap, and the first thing Mr. Quesada would say is, I reach my 10-foot pole and try the door. And 9 out of 10 times, actually pretty much all the time, he sprung the trap. Whatever trap it was, Anna creates a whole new campaign. She'd been very upset. All the wonderful traps that she had to enhance the game had been sprung by Mr. Quesada's 10-foot pole. Everybody knew that he was going to use a 10-foot pole. So what did Anna do? She created a trap exactly 10 feet from the door. We're approaching the dungeon. Mr. Quesada, of course. What do you do is the question. And then he says, I'll open the door with my 10-foot pole. And she asks, very suspect, where is everybody standing? Now, we all got the gist because she had never asked that before. All of us say, we're right by the door or we're off to the side or wherever it is. Then Anna says, a trap opens up 10 feet behind the door, and at the bottom of the 20-foot pit, there is a series of spikes, and then she rolls. This is as I remember it. And so he falls, and she rolls, and he fell to his death. So his character died. Now, you can create new characters, you can resurrect, etc., etc. Mr. Quesada was so pissed. He was always having fun because his character always lived. Now and then a few of us died. That was the nature of the game. It's only a game. We continue to the next campaign. Well, he was so angry. That was the last day we played D&D in the D&D club. So there's the story of the D&D club at school. I hope you enjoyed it. And tomorrow, I will share with you the story of my entrepreneurial programming skills in 10th grade.
Make room for Javi.